My name is Brian Shacochis. Most people call me Shaq. And I teach video and TV production at Marshfield High School. The video and TV production program at Marshfield High School is something that's very near and dear to my heart because I went to Marshfield High School. My absolute favorite thing at MHS was, back then it was Stu's crew. Buddy Stewart was the original teacher, and he taught it for many years. And Stu was a major important part of my teenage life and helped keep me connected to school at a time when I had a very difficult path through school. And there was an era where the only reason I showed up to school every day was this class, right? And so it kept me here long enough until I could finally get excited about learning, and then finally get out and go off to college and do great. And it was a wonderful time to come back and be able to take over for Stu when he retired. So it's very important to me in that respect. Sometimes we are serving a student like myself who needed a reason to come to school, and then sometimes we're serving the kid who's going to Harvard, who is taking all AP classes and is in 800 clubs and just needs a creative outlet. And sometimes we're serving that student. So we serve everybody, the entire spectrum at MHS. We provide an outlet, a place where you can explode your creative voice. That's what I'm all about, is like sharing your creative voice with the world, because there's so many of us have so many wonderful things to share, and having the guts to do that in a place where we can feel safe doing that, that's what we do. The students in class will learn the basics of video production. That's the simplest thing, to learn the basics of video editing and how to work that. And then they will stack skills upon skills as they move forward. So students have like different requirements that they have to do for their projects. They'll learn about camera angles. They'll learn about putting things together and how do we shoot, how do we film, how do we cover, how do we do an interview after a game that we cover, things like that. How do we make a basic highlight reel? What could we do to make it a special highlight reel? There's a lot of different things along the way. There are always basic core term requirements, but then there are also spaces where if they've taken care of the other requirements that they have to do, they have the ability to go do other creative endeavors as well. Some of our best students that I had over the years, they contacted me probably 2 years after they graduated. Said, Shaq, do you have our old videos? We can't really find them, or we're struggling to find some of them. And I happen to have them all in a folder on a drive. I said, I actually have them. I counted them up. There was 72 videos. And I mentioned that to the students when we talked early on in the year. I said, they didn't have 72 assignments. They made all those videos because they just loved making them. You know what I mean? So I want to be able to allow the space to go be explosively creative if that's where you're at. But then also respect the people who are coming along a little bit more slowly, and have it be a space where they don't have to feel like they're falling behind. So I like to meet students where they're at, and we're a place where we all are cool getting together and having laughs together as we go through the creative process. So, yeah.
Good morning and welcome to Before the Bells. I'm Brian Shacochis. This is Activity Day, Day 3, November 3rd, 1993. Here's Bill and Tina at sea level.
So Before the Bells started, I was around for the first season of Before the Bells, okay? And so I was able to be involved with that and be on the air for several, a good amount of those shows. Still have some of those clips kicking around here and there. But back then it was very, very different. It was literally just it was students would go around, film different places in school with a microphone and read pieces of paper, right? The original concept was, well, the students aren't listening to the announcements when we read them over the loudspeaker. If the students do it, then they'll listen more, right? And that worked in that sense, but over time, because we were also making fun, goofy videos, which is really just another way to say we were being creative, right? In the teachers' minds, maybe these are just goofy videos. But in the students' minds, this is our creative vision. You know what I mean? Like we're creating things. And so it was fun to share that with the other students, and that also started keeping the students paying attention because they wanted to see the fun things that were going to be on the show as well.
Hi-ho, the question of the day is, why did the student council spell November with a W? The calendar in the cafeteria says November. Back to you, Tina and Bill.
So from day one, Before the Bells was always designed to be informative and entertaining, and not necessarily just one of those two things, right? So yeah, and so over the years, how has it changed? Well, my goodness, has it changed since the old building? I mean, our teleprompter used to be a TV on a table, and we had one camera on top of the TV. This was when we transitioned to the studio. So now in the new building, having a 3-camera setup with 3 linked teleprompters and all the amazing equipment we have in the control room, it's a very different world. So when former students roll through, they're always marveling at, you know, wow, this is very different than when we did it back in the old building. Becoming a teacher for me was a very personal endeavor. I had a lot of struggles in high school. I did not graduate in 4 years. I stayed back my senior year. I had a lot of personal issues outside school that gave me a lot of challenges. But I tell the students my entire story so that they understand why I'm a teacher. And the reality is that I had some teachers at MHS back in the day who, a lot of them knew what I was going through. And some of them didn't care, and then some of them did. And I wanted to make sure that I could be another person who cared. Right? I wanted to be one less person who didn't care. I wanted to be one more who did. Because the people who did, I never forgot them. And I tried to go out of my way later in life when I got my life together. Went off, got excited about learning, went off and excelled throughout college. And came back and taught. You know, I wanted to make sure that they knew that I really appreciated it and that it was important to me. Like there was a time I didn't have a place to stay. Right? I was bouncing around couch to couch. And Mr. Paul, my chemistry teacher, knew that. And I was picking up my buddy in the afternoon. Mr. Paul was leaving early one day. And Mr. Paul was, was sort of like pulled up next to me and like rolled down his windows, asked me to roll down mine, back when we rolled down windows. And he said, and I thought he was going to talk to me because I'd been skipping his class, because I didn't care. You know what I mean? I was bouncing around outside. I was not living with family at the time. And I didn't, as a result, as a teenager, I'm this jaded, angry teenager who doesn't care about things in the world. I felt so alone. Right? And I think Mr. Paul is going to get on me because I've been skipping his class. Doesn't say a thing about it. He said, Brian, do you have a place to stay tonight? And I didn't. But I said, yeah, I think I'll probably end up at Tom's house or something. And he said, well, it's going to be really, really cold. He's like, if you don't have a place to stay, look me up in the phone book. It's West Paul. I live in Plymouth or whatever, And I said, thanks, Mr. Paul, I appreciate it. And he drives off. I never forgot that. I didn't take him up on it. I never would have. But I couldn't say I was alone at that moment. You know what I mean? Like, that guy knew there was way more important things for this kid right here, right now, than his chemistry class. And that's what he focused on, right? That's why I'm a teacher, because of moments like that. And I was able to get in touch with him and talk to him and thank him for that. And tell him it was a really important moment for me when he did that. So when people can look out for kids who are struggling like that, it's an important thing. So that's a personal story, but that's an important story in my journey to becoming a teacher. So I want to make sure I'm a teacher who cares about students, all the students, but certainly students who are going through things. I want to make sure that they have an opportunity to not feel alone if I can make sure that I can be looking out for them. If you want to see the latest, greatest things that our students are making, you can go to youtube.com/beforethebells. We try to post consistently throughout the year the different video products that the students are creating to create some wonderful, outstanding things. I think we're going to have another fun year ahead of us, and that's the spot. We also are on Twitter at MSBTV, and you can also catch us on TikTok. We're trying to build up our TikTok posting this year a little bit more at MSBTV_. So that's where to find us. And I think you'll enjoy some of the things that you find if you stop by. Kids are doing some fantastic work.
Back to Brian.
Thanks, Jesse. See you later. Free Willy.